Brand new to investing on Fidelity and don't know which of the thousands of stocks to pick from to grow your wealth? No worries, Fidelity offers some low-cost funds which can rapidly have you going from a middle-class family to a top 1%er. Let's jump right into the 3 best Fidelity ETFs. Number 3, FELG, the Fidelity Enhanced Large Cap Growth ETF. This fund's main objective is to get capital appreciation. That means when they're doing their formulating on what stocks to buy, they're primarily going to look for stocks that go up. It's going to be picking from the Russell 1000 Growth Index, and they use quantitative analysis. They're looking at historical valuations. They're looking at growth factors. They're looking at profitability. All these are important criteria to choose from when picking the right stock for you. Now, when all that formulating, when all those algorithms, when all that gets done, we're left with 86 different holdings. Now, the top 10 make up nearly 58% of the fund, but we're getting great diversification by owning FELG. We're getting companies that make so much money that rather than reinvest it back into the business, they actually give it out to shareholders in dividends. This is passive income. This is passive investing, and it gives us exposure to growth. We're talking about fantastic companies here, right? Like a lot of you guys have Apple phones. They make up 12.45% of this fund. A lot of you are watching this on a Microsoft computer. That's 10.71% of this fund. Don't get me started on Nvidia, the hottest stock in the market in the past couple of years. They are 10.61% of this fund. Of course, we have the very popular Amazon, Meta Platforms, which is essentially Facebook. We have Alphabet, which is Google, Broadcom, Google again, Eli Lilly, MasterCard. These are fantastic companies that are everywhere in our society. Now look at all these different sectors that we're involved in. Technology is 51%, consumer cyclical, communications all above 10%. Some great diversification with this ETF. It also has a super low expense ratio of just 18 basis points. That's only $18 for every $10,000 invested. To have somebody else do all the work for you, that's actually really low. That's actually lower than the very popular QQQ or the triple Qs, one of the most traded ETFs in the world that so many people hold in their portfolios. This is cheaper than that. Now, FELG has only been around since November of 2023, and it's given a total return so far of 30.31%, which is incredible. That's 3 times higher than the historical market average and is about 4 percentage points higher than the S&P 500 return in that same time span. FELG also pays a super small dividend yield of just 42 basis points. It pays out dividends every quarter. So not only are you making money with capital appreciation, we're also getting a few dividends every year, just a few cents every quarter. But if you want big dividends, look no further than FDVV, the Fidelity High Dividend ETF. This fund invests in growth and value stocks of companies across many different market capitalizations. This is for investors who want a basket of dividend-paying stocks and companies. Dividends have accounted for a significant portion of the total market's return since 2000. With FDVV, we are getting exposure to 112 different companies. Now, the top 10 here make up 30% of the portfolio, and a lot of these are the same exact companies, actually, that we talked about previously. We got Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft again. But then we also have some great dividend-paying companies in Procter & Gamble. They sell a lot of the everyday essential items that are found on your local grocery store shelves. We got Broadcom, a great semiconductor company, ExxonMobil for all your gas needs. We have Fidelity Security Lending Cash. We got Philip Morris, NextEra Energy. And once again, this fund gives you great diversification across the different stock market sectors, right? We got technology. This time it's only 25% of this fund. Industrials, 16.11%. Consumer defense at 11%. Utilities at 11%, energy at 10%, real estate a little over 9%. So with this fund, we're getting even more diversification. We're getting some sectors that are known to be big dividend payers. So every quarter we're getting paid with the profits that these companies constantly produce, the cash flow that is going into your pockets. Now, you don't need to worry about timing the market. Every year, one of these sectors often does very well, and one of these sectors might not do as hot. But over time, these sectors continue to do great, and investors continue to grow their wealth with them. That's why so many people make money in the stock market. The economy is constantly growing. There will be winners and losers, and it's so hard to individually stock pick. But with FDVV, it doesn't matter about picking the right stocks. The index that the fund follows will do all that work. It will do all the stock picking for us based on algorithms, on different metrics. And FDVV is really nice because for a dividend paying ETF, it doesn't actually totally disregard tech, which is what a lot of dividend ETFs do. We can see that tech still makes up about 25%, and that's where we're getting a lot of this capital appreciation. Like FDVV is up over 33% in the last year, which is amazing, and they pay close to a 3% yield. That's pretty modest, but that's still pretty solid. I'll happily take that. That's enough to take me from growing up in a middle-class family to a top 1%er one day. Now, FDVV has a low expense ratio of just 15 basis points. And since its launch in 2016, it is up over 100% in capital gains. That is double-digit returns every year plus dividends. And the dividend payments just continue to get larger and larger. Now, you guys know how much I love SCHD, one of the best dividend-paying ETFs. But since 2016, FDVV has actually done slightly better than SCHD, but just barely. It's at 166% compared to SCHD's 164% total return at the time of this recording. Now, one sector that I love to invest in and feel very good at night sleeping with my money invested in them is the healthcare sector. The population of the planet is just continuing to age. There will be an increased demand in healthcare. There's going to be constant innovation and technology coming out. Now, your own personal health is one of those things that people are not going to ignore. They usually take care of their health regarding going to the doctor, getting treatment, and they'll do this regardless of the economic conditions. You often have the government also involved in healthcare spending. They're pouring millions, billions of dollars into healthcare. What could possibly go wrong when we have the government in charge of healthcare? Now, the ETF that corresponds to healthcare with Fidelity is FHLC, the Fidelity MSCI Healthcare Index ETF. And this gives amazing exposure to the best healthcare companies for a super low expense ratio of just 8 basis points. That's going to be an $8 fee for every $10,000 invested, but I would gladly pay that because when we look at their holdings, we have access to 367 different companies. By owning this fund, we are an owner in 367 different companies. Now, the top 10 here make up 50% of the portfolio. That includes healthcare giants like Eli Lilly at 10%, United Health Group at 8%, J&J, Johnson & Johnson at 6%, AbbVie, Merck, Thermo Fisher, Abbott Laboratories, all fantastic companies. And even though it's all in healthcare, there's so many different subsectors of healthcare to make money in. This is largely anchored by pharmaceuticals, but it also includes medical equipment, biotech, healthcare management, and healthcare distribution. Now, FHLC has been around for about 11 years, and it's up over 183% in that time span. It also pays a 1.3% dividend yield and continues to pay out those dividends every quarter. Now, it takes a lot of time and effort to actually be proficient in healthcare. That's why I prefer just buying an ETF or an index like FHLC. It's a simple way to invest and become rich over time with just a few dollars. No years of school and expertise, education, none of that is required with this ETF. What I like about all the ETFs I mentioned today is they often just track an index, which uses different algorithms to find the best companies at the best fundamentals and valuations, and it does all of the weighting and rebalancing for us. It's like our investments are on autopilot. No human aspect involved. And that leaves us more money and time to spend with our family, go fishing, go walk the dog, smash some beers, hit the club, smash some, roll up the... Alright guys, you know what I'm talking about. These are the fabulous Fidelity ETFs. Now smash that like button, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating if you're listening on the Collect Cash podcast name. It really helps a small-time YouTuber like me out. And I'll catch you on the next one.
I was literally flipping his meat for him.